Right. So for today, we'll continue from last week's lecture, whereby we are talking about money market instrument. Okay. And then ini semudah kita masuk sikit on foreign exchange market. Okay, these are the summary of marketable securities. Okay. Money market risk. Okay, ni semua kita dah tengok. And okay, these are the discussion questions. But I asked you to skip untuk last week because we're going to discuss maybe later. And then okay, jawapan tu dah ada dekat sini we come back to this later. Then we've gone through the self-test, alright. And then for an exchange market, I've introduced to you the differences between money market and also foreign exchange market. Whereby when we talk about money market, we are talking about all the financial assets traded in domestic currency, for example, ringgit Malaysia. But for foreign exchange market, all the assets are traded in foreign currency. Okay, foreign exchange market is buying and selling currencies of the world. Ini pun kita dah tengok last week sikit. Okay, ada contoh-contoh dengan pen ni kita dah tengok the role of central bank in forex. And then next we are going to look at factors affecting foreign exchange rate. Alright, first of all we have demand and supply. Saya tak sure ada detail tak dalam ni. Saya tak ada Okay, never mind. Alright, so again when we talk about all the factors affecting the foreign exchange rate, so for example, any positive news about the country, so normally the currency will get stronger or will be stronger. And then first of all, when we talk about the factors that affect the rates, first of all is the demand and also supply. So later kita akan tengok examples whereby we have where we can buy the currency and also supply or sell the currency. Market forces, fundamental and technical. And then we have economic factors. Okay, so economic factors, for example, we can have external factors, external factors such as the price of oils, and then the economic condition in US, in China. US like China is one of the biggest market in the world now. And then also the policies announced by World Bank. So all these are considered as market forces, and that will affect the foreign exchange rates. And then we all know the participants will look at economic factors also such as GDP, unemployment rate, and then now we have this global pandemic, COVID-19. So all this information actually comes in and help to determine the foreign exchange rate as well. Okay, and then when we talk about government and central bank policies, for example, Bank Negara policies. So last week, Bank Negara also announced the new OPR. Masih lagi sama at 1.75%. So the bank policies also play roles in this case, the taxation policies. So last week juga kita dengar pembentangan bajet. So all this will actually affect the foreign exchange rates. Nampak macam tak ada kaitan, but if you look at other countries as well, so bila ada war contohnya, so the currency will go down. Market psychology and sentiments. Okay, this is ini based on facts. Bila kita cakap tentang market psychology and also sentiments ni, we are actually talking about unquantifiable factors and factors that you cannot quantify, but it is a sentiment. For example, the political situation, the fear nak pergi certain countries. Macam mula-mula COVID dulu kan semua orang tak nak pergi China, so the fear. So because of that, that will also affect the foreign exchange rate. And political factors, okay, ini pun biasalah. I think you all can relate. When we talk about political factors, we're talking about war, we're talking about election. So kita dekat Melaka nak ada election. So if Melaka is a country, so that will affect, of course, the foreign exchange. And maybe we can also talk about certain type of leadership. Okay, some people fear the leaders, or some people favor the leader, right? So in that case, so that also factor also will affect the foreign exchange rate. International events, okay, samalah kan dengan sekejap I cannot use the pen lah kat sini. Okay, the international event pun is related to political factors. Market speculation and hedging, okay, ni kita akan tengok later the market speculation and hedging. And this is actually normally done by foreign banks. Okay, foreign banks yang buat semua ni lah And also international fund managers And market information such as interest rate, okay, also play important role in affecting the foreign exchange rate. And then next we have foreign exchange risk. So we have two types of foreign exchange risk, foreign exchange exposure and also transaction risk. So it is actually related to the vulnerability of an institution to changes in its profit or loss and shareholders' wealth based on the fluctuations in interest rates. So the first one is exposure rates. So dalam exposure risk ni, we have transaction risk, translation risk, economic risk and also trading exposure risk. So ada beza transaction and translation. Ada explanation tak dekat sini. Okay, so for the transaction exposure ataupun business exposure risk this is where a company they have the commitment to pay and also receive a foreign currency immediately or at a future date. So for the transaction ni, kalau the transaction, the exchange rate ni fluctuates because you see this is the company, they have to pay ataupun receive foreign currency immediately or at a future date. Contohnya as you sell something to China and you are expecting to receive the foreign currency immediately today ataupun at a future date, maybe next week. So the movement ni will result in the profit or loss. Hari ni rate-nya lain, besok rate-nya lain. So you might make profit today, but if you exchange, maybe next week you might make a loss. So business will buy and sell foreign currency. So these are the transaction exposure risk. So kalau foreign exchange rate ni fluctuates, so the value of the currency in relation to local currency pun akan fluctuates. Okay. So macam tadi lah, kalau dia ada commitment to pay or receive, so dia enter into agreement, buy or sell something. So by the time dia nak terima the currency tu, okay. So the importers, for example, when you import something, you might pay higher because of this transaction risk, because of the fluctuation in the rate. Okay. We also have spot and forward deliveries. Nah, ini pun kita akan tengok later what are spot and forward ni. So the second one, we have translation exposure risk ataupun accounting risk. So lain sikit tadi transaction. Transaction tadi lebih kepada the fluctuation in the currency, and then for importers and also exporters transaction. For translation is regarding accounting risk whereby the company has asset and liability denominated in foreign currencies. So by now, you all already look at the financial position of banks, kan? Local bank and also foreign banks. So for foreign bank ni, dia ada ada yang denominated in foreign currencies. Contoh in British pound, ada yang in ringgit Malaysia. So in that case, if the company dia ada asset and liability denominated in foreign currencies, the fluctuation tu akan tukar juga the balance sheet dia ataupun the statement of financial position. Logic lah kan? Because let's say your asset and liability is kita kata denominated in foreign currencies, Indonesia rupiah contohnya. Tapi bila kita convert balik ke RM and ada fluctuation dalam rupiah tu, your RM amount pun akan jadi fluctuate. So it might be positive or negatively fluctuated. Okay, because of the foreign currency fluctuations. So when you have consolidation of group account, so I know you all semua tak belajar sampai ke consolidation. So consolidation ni maksudnya, let's say satu parent company dia ada 5 subsidiaries, dia ada 5 anak syarikat. So consolidation means, because ada yang tanya saya hari tu kan, kalau dalam bank ni nak ambil yang company atau nak ambil yang group. Kalau company tu, company satu. Tapi kalau group is a combination of many companies atau many subsidiaries. So nak merge kan jadi satu daripada banyak company tu nak kena console lah. So nak kena tambah-tambah tolak-tolak whatever intergroup punya transaction yang mana ada foreign subsidiary pula tu. So akan ada to some extent that will result in losses due to negative currency movement. So kalau translation ni lebih kepada asset liability lah denominated in foreign currencies. Kalau transaction tadi import and export tu. Economic exposure, okay, this is regarding companies' cash flow, foreign investment and earnings that may suffer as a result of fluctuations in foreign currency exchange rates. Okay, so again, so for example, company who has business in importing goods from China, dia beli dari China tapi dia nak pergi export ke UK contohnya. So kita, let's say kita dekat Malaysia, so kita tak pakai RM ni. But this company ni, they import from China, in Chinese yuan, then dia akan sell kepada UK, ikut British pound. So dia akan tengoklah rate yuan dengan British pound tu so mana lagi satu expensive for the company to purchase the goods for import and also expect their operation. So contohnya kalau Chinese yuan ni gain against UK pound, so Chinese lagi tinggi. Dia beli harga mahal. So dia nak kena jual harga mungkin lebih rendah untuk beli pun dah jadi mahal. So that will affect their operation. So economic exposure. Because here we're talking about multinational corporations yang bukan sahaja operate in Malaysia tapi ada juga importing or exporting goods overseas. Trading. Exposure risk institution takes on a current exposure with the intention of profiting from it. Okay, ini nanti kita ada satu topik tajuk dia derivative. Topik derivative tu nanti kita akan belajar in detail about hedging. So for now maybe you just berkenalan dulu lah dengan the term hedging ni. Which means here they actually buy or sell the currency with the intention to get profit. Okay, so if the rates move against its favor, the company will make exchange losses. There are also foreign exchange trading. Instead of trading the shares, but you trade the forex. But it's a risky trading. But again, you go back to the basics of investment. High risk normally will result in high return. Tapi itulah high return, but it's a very high risk investment. Next, we have foreign exchange exposure risk. This is one of the counterparties to foreign exchange foreign exchange deal fail to honor its part. Ini macam kita tengok last week lah, kita ada default risk kan. Maknanya credit risk maknanya the other party to fail to honor its part, causing the other party to suffer financial losses. Okay, so this transaction foreign exchange transaction risk ni can be divided into two, settlement and also settlement risk. Okay, so kalau settlement risk ni maksudnya over the counter party may default on delivery date. Okay, contoh katakan okay kita ada some agreement and you have to pay by this Friday contohnya. So by this Friday satu parti tu nak bayar you. So that would be a risk ataupun a loss maknanya default on the delivery date. It can also be the pre-settlement rate, pre-settlement risk, the default to before the delivery date. So this is normally happen in forward deals and also forex swap. Okay, lepas kita tengoklah kita ada forex deal forward and juga swap. Okay, this is to introduce to you the foreign exchange market dan mungkin banyak tak apa nak faham. Okay, foreign exchange ni nampak currency lain sebab bila you go back to the definition, it is actually buying and selling of the universal ataupun the world currency kan. Okay, ni contohnya normally kalau you can even Google now, you boleh masuk mana-mana bank or the bank that you use as your assignment pun boleh masuk website RHB contohnya. Okay, you can see nanti jadi saya share dia ada the foreign exchange quotation. Right, so for example, kalau you nampak USD JPY ni 110. Maksudnya, this how to read benda ni. Okay, maksudnya 1 USD is equivalent to 110 Japanese yen. Okay, ataupun USD MYR. MYR is Malaysia ringgit kita sebut RM kan, tapi universally our RM is known as MYR, Malaysian ringgit. Bukan RM lah, dia tak tulis RM. Kita kat Malaysia dia pakai RM So overseas, internationally, our currency is recognized as MYR. 4.3420 dan dia mesti 4 decimal point. So how to read this number, $1 USD equivalent to 4.342 ringgit Malaysia. Maksudnya, kalau ada, nanti kita tengok ada buy and sell ni, selling rate USD MYR 43420 means for $1 USD, a buyer of the USD must pay 4.3420. Okay, kalau nak beli satu USD, kena bayar RM4.3420 sen RM. Okay, so two-way quotation, boleh jadi juga USD MYR. Tapi kita biasanya, the way kita tulis is foreign currency dan kita punya currency. Kita tak buat kita tak tulis MYR USD, kita buat USD. Yang kat foreign dulu kat depan, nak kita kat belakang. Okay, it can also be like this. Okay, ini satu nombor kan. Kat sini nampak ada dua nombor dia slash. Okay. Maksudnya di sini is, kalau macam ni, it can be bank buys and the customer sell. So ini, reading ni is actually from the bank's perspective. Not from our perspective. Kita ialah customer. So it can be buy or bank sell. Okay. So dekat sini ni, patutnya kena ke tepi ni. This one read untuk buy. This one untuk sell. Saya punya ni lari sikit tak? Saya adjust sikit. Nanti kan you all ingat apa benda juga macam tu Okay, it should be like this. Okay. Right. Okay. So this means kalau quotationnya macam ni, USD MRR 43510, 43520, bank beli. Kita bawa duit pergi bank tukar duit kan? Kita bawa, let's say saya bawa USD pergi bank. Sekarang saya bawa RM sebab saya customer nak saya bawa USD, saya nak jual USD, saya nak beli RM. So saya bagi satu USD, saya kena saya dapat balik 4.3510. Saya dapat sebab bank buy, bank beli dari saya jual. Nombor yang sebelah kanan ni bank sells, customer buy. Saya pergi counter, saya bawa RM, saya nak USD. Boleh faham Kalau tak faham just stop me. Ini tadi customer sell saya bawa USD, saya nak jual, saya nak ambil RM. Sekarang saya bawa RM, saya nak beli USD. Ini harga yang bank jual. So kita sebut buy and sell ni not from our perspective, it is actually from the bank's perspective. So bank buy maksudnya customer sell. Bank sell maksudnya customer buy. Okay, so depan ni buy, belakang ni sell. Alright, ni contoh lagi satu What we have here is contohnya syarikat ABC buying USD 1 million at the rate of USD MYR 4.3750. Okay, ini maksud dekat sini ialah bank sell lah. So, dia kata syarikat ni buy kan, customer buy, bank sell. Okay, dia nak beli 1 million at the rate of 4.3750. Okay, so dia nak 1 million USD, dia kena bayar 4.37 million Sebabnya account dia, katakan syarikat ABC ni dekat Malaysia so account dia denominated in RM. Okay, so bila dia beli USD, okay, account dia will be debited at 4.375 million. Okay, sebab ini bank sell dia beli. Okay, ini tadi kita dah tengok quotation direct or indirect quote. So saya kata tadi lah, kita biasanya pakai yang ni. Currency luar dulu, currency kita di belakang. Alright, so direct currency quote, currency pair in which domestic currency is the quoted currency. Sebab domestic kat belakang ni kita quote domestic currency. Indirect quote, terbalik lah. Domestic currency is the base currency. So kita banyak pakai yang ni lah. Both boleh pakai but for example, you biasa lagi tengok macam ni kan, satu USD kita baca pun senang satu USD equivalent to 4.2 ringgit Malaysia. Rather than 1 ringgit Malaysia equivalent to 0.237 USD. Nampak lagi senang baca macam ni kan. Kita ambil satu USD, satu Australian dollar, satu Sing dollar, satu ataupun 100 Japanese yen, in 100 100 Japanese yen. Berapa Malaysian ringgit. Kita guna direct quote. So this is the quoted currency, this is the base. Alright, next one is foreign exchange market. Ni dah masuk cerita market sikit. Kita ada dua, spot and forward. Okay. Spot ni saya pun baru tahu ada translation, DBP punya translation lah. Spot market dalam bahasa Melayu disebut pasaran lani. Ada orang Kedah kat sini. Lani is now spot. So dia jadikan ini satu Malay punya translation spot market di pasaran lani. Tak percaya orang pergi Google DPP punya. Saya pun terkejut orang mula saya tahu Tak macam betul. Okay. So spot market ni, okay, the difference between these two markets, currencies bought or sold for immediate delivery. Maksud spot immediate delivery is 2 days, excluding public holidays and weekends. So jual beli in this spot market maksudnya dalam masa 2 hari. Dia ialah 2 business days lah kalau senang. In other words, we can say that it is 2 business days excluding public holidays and also weekend. Okay, so biasanya kita akan ada interbank market standard rate quoted ni on screen. Kalau tengok dekat dalam bank kalau you go to bank, dekat screen biasanya akan ada rate So rate tu ialah biasanya lah the spot rate. Rate ni lah dua dalam masa 2 hari. So let's say buat transaction on Monday, the delivery due on Wednesday, pakai spot rate ni, currency bought or sold. Forward market ni sold for future delivery, lebih dari 2 hari. Anytime more than 2 days tu dah masuk dalam kategori forward market. Okay, you might wonder why do we need spot and forward market ni? It is actually to serve the needs of exporters and importers. Okay, so kita boleh tengokkan macam mana tadi when they import and export tu dia ada timeline untuk dia bayar ataupun dia buy or sell the currency. So menggunakan this rate lah. Sebab rate ni ada berbagai-bagai. So if you lock satu rate ni and you settle within 2 days, you will have that rate. Kalau tak, you will use the forward rate. And this forward rate ni walaupun kita kata dia more than 2 days, more than 2 days, it can be higher or lower than spot. Jangan pula kata kita buat spot ni spot harga bagus, kita jangan buat forward harga mungkin lebih tinggi kan. Not necessarily. It can be higher or lower than the spot rate. So depending on the interest rate differential between the two currency. Okay, maknanya depending on the deposit rate and also the Malaysian, kalau USD depending on the USD deposit rate and also Malaysian interest rate. Malaysian deposit rate juga. Okay, trading strategies and forward market. This is also an area that you can explore. So saya suka because when you, especially for your program, for accounting program, kita ada a variety of career ahead of you. So banyak option, banyak opportunities lah that you can explore because besides focusing on maybe you kata nak fokus on insurance, nak fokus on being a financial planner, you can also explore this trading. Trading bila you belajar benda ni and then later on you ada paper portfolio, investment portfolio, and then later on ada paper advanced financial management lagi. So this will definitely help you to explore. So this is, saya lebih suka guna perkataan explore lah. There are a lot of area that you can explore. So for example in this case, we have trading strategies and forward market. So kita tengoklah two main types of foreign exchange dealers. Okay, number one we have what we call a corporate dealer. Corporate dealer ni sometimes is called a commercial dealer. Betul tulisan. Commercial dealer. Which means they are corporate dealer, they service and look after the needs of the bank's corporate or commercial customer. Dia bukan jaga individual, dia jaga company. Right? We also have company kan yang memang buat investment in foreign exchange ni. So this corporate dealer ni dia jaga company. And they normally do not take positions. Kita ada juga interbank dealers. Okay, later bila kita buat tajuk derivative nanti, just like what I did before, saya panggil the trader from the bank. Macam last time saya dapat dari OCBC. Then kita ada someone from the bank yang akan datang and buat sharing session with all of you. It was a very fruitful session sebabnya you have this one person yang memang buat benda ni, so you can ask anything, any question dekat dia, so dia kan explain pada kita things yang very technical yang saya sendiri pun tak familiar sebab bila dia buat benda tu dia sangat familiar lah dengan tu, and they can share with you apa yang dia buat sebenarnya dekat bank tu. So nanti insyaAllah bila kita sampai dekat tajuk tu nanti, I will bring you maybe one or two my friends from the banks that can share with us what they did actually in the bank tu. So you dapat first hand experience lah based on the sharing session nanti. Macam last time kita bawa dealer dia explain so dealer they make a lot of money for your information. So interbank dealer, interbank dealer ni masuk dalam kategori speculator. Dia spekulatif, dia kerja dia speculate je, tapi dia bukan main speculate ikut emosi tak. Dia speculate based on numbers dia ada calculation. So apa dia orang ni buat, dia deals and trade on behalf of the banks. So remember kita belajar masa awal tu we know that some banks they have surplus kan, that they can go and invest somewhere else. This is the money yang the bank dealer guna untuk trade on behalf of the bank. So they are the foreign exchange dealer, also known as specialists who speculates on currencies. Kerja dia bunyi macam jahat je kan, dia speculate je. Contohnya katakanlah based on the research, ini bukan emosi based on the research dia tengok trend, dia tengok statistik. Nanti bila you belajar, I think when you learn investment portfolio you will learn how to read the chart. Belajar tengok chart macam ni. Even now pun if you involved in trading you will understand lah bila kita tengok the chart okay, contohnya based on the research ni, this interbank dealer ni dia find out that dia kata dalam masa terdekat ni US dollar akan naik. Contoh US dollar akan naik. Jadi based on dia punya analisis lah, analisis ni kita ada dua jenis. One is technical analysis. Lagi satu kita panggil sebagai fundamental analysis. You have to be very good with numbers lah nak buat all this analysis ni So based on this analysis ni, fundamental and technical ni, dia nampak, contoh dia kata USD ni akan naik. Okay, based on the analysis ni, dia kata dia rasa USD akan naik. So apa yang dia akan buat ialah dia akan buy. Akan naik kan? So dia beli sekarang. Dia akan buy USD, contohnya buy USD against Malaysian Ringgit. Okay, dia akan beli dulu. Dan, ajak tak kat sini, position long short Okay, tak apa. Dan dia saya masih nak letak dia ada position. Kalau position ni, bila kita cakap pasal position ni, dia ada dua, satu long, satu short. So katakanlah dia beli USD sebab dia nampak USD ni akan naik so dia positionkan dekat long bila long maksudnya bila dia nampak USD tu nak turun je, dia jual. Okay. So yang ni dia punya profit dia based on the selling and buying currency ni je. Tu je kerja dia. Dia buat analisis, dia tengok siapa naik, siapa turun, dia beli ataupun dia jual. Based on that dia boleh buat profit so dia kena control lah So they really have to be aware and nak buat all this analysis it's very technical analysis, nak kena calculate then only you can decide lah nak jual ke, nak beli ke. Next one, kita ada the jobber or scalper. Ini short term trader moving in and out of the market to reap a small profit. Ini kita panggil intraday trader. Dia tak simpan pun overnight. Dia beli pagi-pagi, masa market buka pukul 9 dia beli, nanti kan market tutup, dia jual. So dia intraday je, jobber or scalper. So depends on lot of volume. So kalau beli banyak, you untung pun boleh jadi banyak lah because kita kira we go by volume. So these are short term traders Kalau yang tadi ni depends lah dia deal on behalf of the bank, so it can be long, it can be short boleh short term, boleh jadi long term based on the calculation dia. Kita also ada the positioner. Tengok, very interesting term dipakai untuk all these forex trader ni. So kita ada positioner, a day trader juga. Takes a slightly longer time to view the market and relies on bigger profit margin. Dia pun tengok info juga. Dia dapat info tapi apa yang dia buat ialah dia look at it on the impact. Okay, kalau info macam ni apa jadi? Dia position, dia fikir sikit kan. And relies on bigger profit margin. So this positioner ni sebab dia suka berfikir dia ada stop loss strategy, which means this strategy can be done by anybody actually, anybody who's doing some trading, you have to have this stop loss strategy to limit the bank's loss ataupun to limit the dealer's loss. Okay, contohnya katakanlah bila kita buat calculation, kita rasa macam I cannot go more than 10% loss. So kalau you tengok the loss sudah approaching 10%, then stop ataupun jual or whatever, so that tak ada loss lebih lagi daripada tu. Put certain amount. Stop loss ni maksudnya you have the kita kata satu figure lah ataupun satu level to stop the loss, to limit the loss tu kalau ada. And then tak boleh tamak lah, kan, tunggulah kot nanti naik lagi, tunggulah nanti naik lagi, but you tunggu, the loss is higher. So again, see, we are talking about interbank trader ni, they are actually, kita kata, they can be short-term and also long-term trader because they work for the bank, they are traders or dealer, so they deal with other banks punya dealer juga. So apa yang dia buat ialah they are representing the banks to make profit for the bank. Nampak? Beza dengan yang tadi kan? Corporate dealer ni, dia jaga customer, bank punya customer. Ada lagi satu, kita ada interbank dealer. Interbank dealer ni yang ramai ni. 1, 2. Interbank dealer ni kat sini lah. Ini semua interbank dealer. 1, positioner. We also have this, the next one kita ada structural trader. So dia orang ni, they represent the bank. So kalau dia salah buat decision, rugilah bank. So they are very powerful and they earn a lot of money. Tapi kalau dia buat something or certain decision yang merugikan bank tu, they can easily get fired lah. Nampak macam tu So high return kerja dia, tapi high risk juga. Okay, so another term is actually structural trader, also known as strategic trader. Okay, they take long-term positions. Yang tadi ni positionnya can be short-term or long-term. So here structural, they are taking long-term position, higher risk, but profits and losses can be substantial. So they can actually square the position at the end, ataupun keep the position and leave it tonight, or cover part of the position and leave the remaining overnight pun boleh. So the way they nak kita kata dia nak settlekan the trading tu. So these are again the trading strategies. Kita kata stop loss tadi, nak limit the losses. So dia ada certain level to stop the losses, and then take profit order. Dia hanya akan decide to take profit if the market start to move in a favorable position. It can be, the strategy boleh jadi strategi supaya tak nak loss banyak, or strategi nak ambil profit je, or it can be both. Take profit come stop loss order. Okay, nak protect the capital ataupun nak protect the trading at the same time to make profit. Sekejap, saya ada satu example lain tak? Sini sebab dalam notes ni masih ada Okay, so untuk profit and loss ni, I think you all can understand lah bila you beli something and when you sell, the selling price is higher, then you are making profit. But if you beli something tapi you jual, harga you jual tu lagi rendah daripada harga beli, then that will make a loss. So itu konsep untuk trading ni lah. Because trading ni is buy and sell. You mesti beli. In order for you to sell, you have to buy. Sebelum jual, kena beli dulu. Sebelum nak jual USD, you have to buy. You have to ada USD, then only you can sell. So let's say masa beli tu harga murah, masa jual harga tinggi. That is profit. Katakanlah masa beli harga murah, masa jual harga tu turun, lagi murah. So you're making a loss. So depending on the selling and also buying rate lah. Saya tambah sikit dekat sini. So the selling versus buying rate. Okay. So kalau kita kata buy rate is less than sell, profit lah. Okay. Tapi kalau buy rate tu is more than sell, you beli lagi mahal then it is a loss. So kat mana nak stop the loss ni, macam ni lah the strategi stop loss order ada certain level, then you stop, maknanya you sell je lah, loss pun tak apa, sell je. Tapi sebab apa? Sebab nak limit daripada loss lagi take profit. Okay, take profit ni maksudnya okay, bila dah beli murah harga naik sikit je, okay, then you sell lah maknanya dia dalam favorable position and then they can sell. What else? Short term, structural. Okay, so again dia orang ni tadi yang ni tak deal with the corporate client, dia deal with the banks. Dia bank dengan bank interbank traders ni keyword dia dekat sini lah, interbank trader. So they trade for the bank, so dia memang buat untuk bank lah Ada satu lagi saya masuk dalam ni tak? We have another one which is commercial trader. Tapi commercial ni sama saya sini tak ada lagi. Okay. Corporate dealer or commercial dealer atau trader lah sama lah. Kita boleh pakai word dealer ataupun trader tu dua kategori ni. This part dah cukup and then lagi ada term dekat sini Positional, structural, okay, square. Square ni, the term is actually squaring. Okay, banyak term belajar hari ni Squaring ni maksudnya bila dia buat profit ataupun not, depends on the rate that is square off the position. Dia panggil square off lah, which means contohnya macam tadi saya kata dekat sini, mana tadi Okay, here buy sell tu kan. You buy certain amount and then you want to sell at a certain date or at a certain amount. Masa transaction buying and selling yang off nak dapat profit ni this one ni kita, the term tu kita panggil sebagai squaring. They use the term squaring square. Okay, stop loss tadi. Okay, sebab tak nak incur more losses Because normally for the bank trader untuk stop loss ni bank dah letak siap-siap dah dekat dia. Contohnya untuk satu-satu deal tu we can only absorb 5,000 losses je. 5,000 ringgit loss. You buatlah macam mana pun jangan rugi lebih dari 5,000. So dia kena pandai lah dia kena pandai speculate and expect lah So kalau dia calculate the stop loss kalau maximum the bank bagi 5,000 ringgit so dia kena do something. Tengoklah kalau USD tu naik ataupun turun dia kena buy ataupun kena sell, nak cut loss dia kena ada certain rate lah, tak boleh lebih dari for example 5,000 tadi contoh lah 5,000 so the bank bagi so take profit ni tadi dia lebih konservatif lah, katakanlah tadi stop loss dia let's say kita kata nak stop at 5,000 ringgit. So any deal yang merugikan more than 5,000 ringgit dia tak akan ambil dan dia akan buat so that rugi tu tak sampai 5,000. Take profit ni contohnya nak profit 5,000. Katakanlah you dah reach 5,000 profit, tak boleh tamak. You have to sell. To take that 5,000 profit, itu take profit. Or the strategy is dapat profit 5,000, okay, stop. Tapi sometimes tu macam alamak rugi kan, you can actually take profit more tapi you dah ambil setakat tu So that is the lock in profit untuk take profit order so it can be both juga. Okay, forward market tadi kita dah tengok sikit forward beza dengan spot. Kalau spot tadi within 2 days, sekarang forward ni transact currency for delivery in the future. In the future ni maksudnya after 2 business days So this forward market allow forex trader to be settled after the spot date. Spot date tadi 2 hari kan. So lebih daripada 2 hari sampailah few years forward market ni dia tempoh dia panjang. Daripada 2 hari sampailah ke few years So boleh spot market tak, spot tadi 2 hari je. So bank use forward market to hedge their forward currency exposure risk, arbitrage and also speculate in the forward market. Also used by central bank for their currencies intervention. Okay, the mechanics of forward rate macam mana dia decide the forward rate ni, between currencies is a function of several factors. Macam tadi lah, kita tengok the few factors tadi tu. So termasuk market sentiment, central bank intervention kalau ada, dan juga interest different for two currencies. Alright, in some cases, ini pun I'm sure semua pernah dengar price ada premium or discount. So untuk forward ni, interest bank rate ni, the differential ni can either widen or narrow over a period of time. Macam tadi lah, this is the risk juga, the interest rate risk juga. It can be high, it can be low. So if the interest rate is zero, then the forward rate will be close or equal to the spot rate. So boleh beza kalau katakanlah spot ni ialah today sekarang. Kita ada forward, katakan lagi 5 hari. Okay, 5 days. Okay, rate untuk hari ni, sekian rate hari ni, dengan rate lagi 5 days ni bergantung pada interest. Alright, if let's say interest ni tinggi, so beza kat sini banyak lah. Tapi kalau interest dia kata zero, forward rate ni nilai dia akan nak sama lah dengan spot rate ni kalau interest rate tu zero. Tapi kalau interest rate tu lagi tinggi, biasanya will be traded at a forward discount, forward rate lah Tapi kalau interest dia low, will be traded at a forward premium. Forward rate, okay, tu main komponen ni pun kita dah tengok lah To get a forward rate, it is a spot rate. Sebab spot rate ni dah readily available Katakanlah kita nak rate untuk minggu depan. Kita tak ada lagi rate untuk minggu depan. Kita cuma ada rate hari ni, which is a spot rate hari ni. Dalam masa 2 hari hari ni dengan besok contohnya. Tapi kita nak forward rate kita hari Isnin depan. We do not know kan harga Isnin depan tu berapa. So we use today's date, today's rate plus interest differential. Macam tadi lah. You guna this rate plus or minus the interest dekat sini untuk dapatkan forward rate. Macam mana nak plus or minus? Kita tengok kalau interest rate tu lagi tinggi, kita kata kita akan trade at a discount. Kalau interest rate tu lagi rendah, kita trade at a premium. Okay, so this is how the market determine the forward rate. Dia bukan turun dari langit lah Kita gunakan spot rate dan juga dipanggil sebagai forward swap points lah, which is actually the interest differential. Bunyi macam canggih kan? This is actually interest differential Okay, ni pun dah tengok tadi, premium and discount. Okay, kita tengok illustration dia. Nampak kan tadi dekat sini dia kata kalau premium spot rate, okay, kita kata spot plus premium, dia akan dapat forward. Tapi kalau dia discount, tak akan ada spot minus discount. Dia akan dapat forward. Okay. Okay, contohnya spot rate USD MRR is 4,550.60. Forward point for 1 week is premium 510. So tengok macam mana dia baca 4550 ni plus dia 5060 plus 0.010 dapat 455 sebab dia kata premium 510 and then discount 15.5 wants to buy for 1 week. All in rate will be 45550 minus 0.005. 5 ni sekejap, saya test ni nanti sekejap. Something I have to show you. Sekejap, saya tunjuk bagi satu. I think this one datang dari bank kot. Sekejap Okay. Okay. Okay, ni contoh Ini from the model yang belum siap tu. Okay, ini saya ambil from RHP kalau tak salah, as of 2 days ago So this is how you read and normally if you go to bank's website or bank mana-mana pun you can see this one. Contohnya these are the list of currency yang kita kata most popular lah used in Malaysia So they start dengan kita ada Australian dollar AUD to selling, buying. Okay, kita dah tengok tadi kan buy sell tu this is from the perspective of the bank not from our perspective. Brunei dollar, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, euro, British pound, New Zealand dollar, Sing dollar and US dollar. So sekarang let's say lah you want to go travel to you pergi travel dekat US contohnya. Satu US dollar sama dengan 4.2 ringgit Malaysia. Mahal kan? Semua lebih daripada 3 ringgit Satu Australian dollar 3.1. Ini pun tinggi Zaman saya duduk Aussie dulu rate dia 2.7 macam tu je. Rendah lah So now dah jadi tinggi. So the higher you boleh nampak the logicnya kan. Katakanlah lagi tinggi US dollar ni, lagi banyak RM yang kita perlukan untuk beli $1 dia. Ataupun lagi tinggi Singapore dollar, Singapore pun tinggi Lagi tinggi Singapore dollar, lagi tinggilah kita kena spend RM untuk beli dollar dia. Okay. So sekarang ni kita tengok soalan go back to the soalan tadi Okay. Right. Okay. So can you try to answer this question? Contohnya when a country's currency depreciates, ni juga kena fikir sikit lah when a country's currency depreciate, contohnya Malaysian RM lah, depreciate depreciate maksudnya harga currency dia turun. Harga barang kita dekat overseas akan jadi more expensive or less expensive while foreign goods in that country become less or more expensive.
D.
What do you think?
Less or more.
Less, more. Setuju? D, it is less, more, which means kalau satu country tu currency dia depreciate, let's say kita cakap tentang Singapore dollar, Singapore contohnya katakan currency dia depreciate, okay, barang Singapore dekat Malaysia akan jadi kurang mahal lah, akan jadi murah lah kan. While foreign goods dekat country dia, barang US dekat Singapore akan jadi lebih mahal So the answer here is D, question 2. US dollar appreciate tu lebih tinggi lah naik appreciate relative to the Swiss franc. Siapa mahal, siapa murah? Anyone? Sekarang US dollar lagi tinggi dari Swiss. Okay, kita tengok A Kalau in this case US dollar lagi tinggi daripada Swiss, okay, A kata Swiss chocolate will become more expensive in the United States. Betul tak? Salah kan? Sebab kalau harga USD tinggi, Swiss tu rendah. Dekat US nak beli coklat Swiss lagi murah lah. Sebab harga US sekarang tinggi kan. So Swiss tu rendah. Okay, B salah B American. A salah B American computers will become less expensive in Switzerland. Betul tak? Salah juga salah juga. Sebabnya bila US tu tinggi, nak beli barang US dekat Switzerland, kita kena bayar lebih Dia akan jadi more expensive. C, Swiss chocolate will become cheaper in the United States.
Betul.
Betul.
Okay. So the answer is C Okay, dah boleh travel overseas dah you all ni, betul lah semua And last question. If the dollar depreciates, US dollar lah ni dollar is US dollar. Depreciate relative to the British pound. A, B, C or D?
A.
Okay. A betul. British disc will become cheaper in the United States. Betul ke? Dollar depreciate USD rendah.
C jawapan dia.
A lah, C lah. Mana satu? Mungkin kena tulis sikit pun kan nak tengok. Dalam kes ni USD harga rendah.
C.
Dengan British pound. British pound. So British dish will become cheaper in the United States. Betul tak A tu?
Salah.
Salah. Kan?
Salah.
Sebab sekarang ni British tinggi kan? British tinggi. So barang British kat US kan dah jadi mahal. So A salah. E? American wheat will become more expensive in Great Britain.
Salah.
Salah juga. Murah lah kan?
Murah.
Murah. C?
Betul.
British dish will become more expensive in the United States. Betul?
Betul.
Okay. So jawapan dia?
C.
Siapa ya? Nurul Nadia you kat mana? Bunyi macam kat jauh je.
Oh ya ke, sorry.
Okay, so this is how foreign exchange will affect our daily life, especially kalau macam you all suka pergi beli groceries suka beli, contohnya suka beli imported fruits katakan, or imported chocolate kan. So kadang-kadang kita cakap, mahalnya benda ni hari ni contohnya But bila kita tengok balik the foreign exchange, katakanlah you really like Swiss chocolate kita tengok Switzerland tadi kan, kita cerita tentang Swiss chocolate, you really like Swiss chocolate. And then pergi beli. Pergi rasa macam, berasa macam beli minggu lepas lagi murah atau lagi mahal contohnya. And then why? And then bila kita tengok balik, this is the case lah. Kita katakanlah RM depreciate harga ringgit, kalau harga ringgit turun memang semua barang akan jadi mahal. Belilah Swiss chocolate ke apa benda ke, semua yang all the imported products akan jadi mahal kalau ringgit kita depreciate. So kalau dengan news ke pasal trading ni sometimes you will learn or listen dia kata okay, harga ringgit ditutup rendah, ditutup tinggi. Ini maksudnya lah. So tinggi rendah ni will actually affect all the foreign exchange alright, so that's about it for topic 3. And then maybe we can take a 5-minute break kan before kita proceed dengan presentation. Saya dah bagi tahu the order of presentation kan. And then lagi satu saya lupa nak tanya, have you all assign yourself dalam My Guru punya group tu tak? Boleh assign sendiri kan?
Dah boleh, grup 3 dah.
Group 3 dah Saya nampak ada group lain yang belum yang belum isi. So please isi Saya tak tahu macam mana you all punya view. Let me show you mine. Saya tak assign sebab kita dah assign masing-masing. So you yourself boleh masukkan diri masing-masing ke dalam group yang saya dah assign lah. So I show you, this is my view. Apa yang saya nampak dekat sini. Alright, so contohnya you all group B. Okay, saya dah setkan 6 group So I don't know about your view bila saya tengok dekat sini contohnya group 1 ni ada seorang je baru letak nama kat dalam ni. Ahli group 1 yang lain you have to masukkan nama sendirilah dekat dalam setiap group ni sebab sekarang ni ada 13 lagi yang not in group 5 dah masuk group. Macam group 2 ni tak ada langsung. Group 3 dah cukup. Group 4 baru ada 1. Lagi 2 ahli tak tahu pergi mana, tak masuk diri sendiri dalam ni Group 5 baru ada 2. And group 6 pun belum ada. So based on today's presentation, kita akan go by macam group 1 ialah kita start with Maybank. Group 1 kita ada Nabilah, Ashira and Nasha. Group 2 CIMB, Nur Nasuha, Nadira and Syaril. Group 3 daripada Bank Islam dah tukar jadi RHB, betul Lukman? Ada Lukman,
Betul,
ada Mariam. Okay, kita ada group 4 Afin Bank, kita ada Wenling, Sini and Azrina. Group 5 pun saya minta tukar daripada rakyat kepada now you ada jadi M Bank, kita ada Wafa, Anis and Syafiqah. And group 6 kita ada Public Bank, Ainun, Umul and GB. So nanti please include yourself dalam setiap group tu lah. Kalau tak nanti dia keluar macam saya punya view tadi tu lah, nampak not in group. So not in group nanti nak bagi markah pun susah. So we take 5 minutes break before kita move on dengan Maybank and seterusnya sampailah ke Public Bank. But I give each group 5 minutes je to present your you can present your PowerPoint kalau ada, or you want to present your infographic pun boleh because the submission yang saya nak is actually dalam bentuk infographic je, not your PowerPoint. Alright, so let's take 5 minutes break. We'll come back at 3:10. Alright, can we have group 1? Bebang eh? Seorang ke tiga-tiga nak present ni? Seorang je, okay. Boleh share screen eh?
Okay, nampak tak?
Okay, nampak.
Okay, proceed eh.
Right.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Okay, we are from group 1.
Tak berapa dengar lah. Syirah.
So we proceed to question number 1. Question number 1 is identify the items on the asset side, liabilities and equity side. So here's our statements of financial position Maybank in 2020. So total assets Maybank is 856 billion, 8,859,514 ringgit. So liabilities pula, total liabilities dia is 749,749,807 ringgit. The last one is equities. Total equities is 84,436,647 ringgit. So then question number 2. Calculate and determine the item that contribute the most to the asset, liabilities and equities. Here's the pie chart of assets. We can see that item that contribute the most to the asset is loans, advances and financing to customers, which is 511 million, 310,107. The second one is financial investments at fair value through other comprehensive income that are 127,502,681. The green one. Okay, then the liabilities. Item that contribute the most to the liabilities is deposits from customers that are 556 million, 349,372 ringgit Malaysia, and also insurance or takaful contract liabilities and other insurance payables, which is 87,694,765 ringgit. So equities. The last one, item that contribute the most to the equities is share capital that are 48,280,355 ringgit. So that's all from me. Okay, thank you.
Okay, alright. Thank you, Maybank. Can we have the next one? CIMB.
Kejap nak tengok.
Okay.
Nampak tak?
Nampak? Seorang je present
Ya, Doktor.
Alright.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum, Doctor. I'm a fellow friend. My name is Muhammad Syarif bin Ismail and I am from Group 2. The other group member is Nur Nadira Akmal binti Amizaki and Nur Nasuha binti Mat Jasni. Okay, for our group, we chose CIMB. Next slide. Okay, CIMB Group is a leading ASEAN universal bank and one of the region's foremost corporate advisor. It is also a world leader in Islamic finance. Okay, yang bawah tu skip je. Next. Okay, next we are going to look for the item in asset, liabilities and equity for CIMB. The first one is asset. Okay, so the total asset is 602 billion ringgit Malaysia. Okay. Next for the liability. Okay, this one is for liability. So total liability is 545 billion ringgit. Next. Okay, and lastly for the equity. So equity is the total equity is 57 billion ringgit. Okay. Now we move to the next section, which is we are going to look for the most contribution to liability and equity. In this section, we present it in the pie chart, so that easy for us to look for the most contribution. Okay, for the asset, the most contribution is loan, advance, and financing with 58% of the total asset. Okay, next. Next, the most contribution for liabilities is deposit from customer with 74% of total liabilities. And lastly, the most contribution for equity is reserve with 53%. And the second most contribution is ordinary share capital with 45%.
Tengok your chart ni saya teringat donat lah. Petang. Dalam colourful. Alright, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Alright, next group, please. RHB.
Ya, Doktor, nampak slide saya tak? Ni.
Belum lagi. Nampak
Belum
slide saya je.
Okay. Doktor nampak slide saya?
Nampak. Buat slideshow je.
Okay. Okay, Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera to all my friend and our fellow lecturer, Dr. Hazanti binti Abdul Halim. So today we present about RHB Bank Asset and Liabilities. Before that, let me introduce myself, Lokman Hakim, this side of me, Nur Nadia and Siti Mariam. Okay, we move to the background of RHB Bank. RHB Banking Group is a multinational regional financial services provider that offering different segment and ecosystem. RHB rank among the top banks in Malaysia and has strong market leadership with more 14,000 employees group-wide. RHB presents spans 9 countries in the ASEAN region. RHB Bank also retail banking for insurance, wealth management, hire purchase, card, and unsecured loans as well as secured loans. Next is statement of financial positions for asset. So the total of asset is 271,149,958 and 58. So this calculation for convert to percentage. So the formula is the amount value of item of asset divide with total asset and times 100%. So we got the answer. So from this we got 18 items of asset. And next is statement of financial position for liabilities and equities. So total for liabilities is 144 billions. So the total of equity 27 billion. So the total of liability and equity is remain the same with asset 271 billion. So next there is a calculation for liability, that's which is uh, the amount of liability divided with total of liability times 100 and got the answer. We got 15 items of liability from the liability, and the equity is we got two equities, and the calculation is remain the same. Just switch with total equity. Okay, this pie chart for asset. So we can look at this. The most contribute is loan, advances, and financing. And then for liability, the most contribute is deposit from customer. And the entities, the most contribute is reserve. So we can conclude that loans, advances, and financing contribute the most asset, while deposit from customer contribute the most to the liability, and last, reserve contribute the most to the equities. That's all from our group. With that, thank you.
All right, thank you, RHB. Next, can we have Afin?
Ya, doktor.
Yep.
Sorry ya, sebab isi lag.
Oh, okay, tak apa. Kita tunggu.
Boleh nampak slide tak?
Boleh nampak.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Today, our group would like to present about the Afin Bank Berhad. So, this is our group members. And this is the income statement for Afin Bank Berhad. In 2020, the profit margin is lower than previous year. So we can see that the net income is decreased year by year. The next is for the balance sheet. In 2020, the debt to assets is become lower. If the debt assets become lower, it means that the company have the effective cost of uses the effective cost of hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, sangat lag.
Oh, okay.
If you have the lower debt to asset ratio, it means that they have the ability to repay their debt, and whether they have the additional loans will be extended to the company. And next, I will pass to my group members, Wenling.
So this is the asset position for Affinbank in 2020. So from the chart, we can see that the highest amount of asset is the consumer and installment loans is 33.4%, followed by commercial and industrial loans, which equal to 30%. And then is the other securities, which equals to 11.1%. And the treasury securities is for 8.3% in asset, followed by total cash and due from banks, which equal to 7.9%. The list item that is the list in the asset is other assets, which is 1.9%, and net property, plant and equipment, which equal to 1.3%, and trading account securities, which is equal to 0.9%. While the other investment is 0, which this is because it is only 14,000 in all the asset. So when we divide with all the asset in the Affinbank in 2020, so it becomes 0 point something. So in the bar chart, it's just show 0. Okay, that's all for me. I will pass to my friend.
Okay, this is the liabilities position for Affinbank in year 2020. The total liabilities is 59,899 million ringgit Malaysia. So for liabilities, the most item contribute to liabilities is the total deposit, which is amount 49,887 million ringgit Malaysia.
Okay, this one.
Oh, sorry. Now I will present about the percentage of total equity in 2020. So from here we can see that the common stock par is the highest one, which is 51.24%. Because of the par value isn't related to its actual market value, so we have to identify the common stock par in the balance sheet. So the par value of a stock can be determined by dividing the total number of common stock at par value, which is $1, by the remaining number of the share issue. That's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. And last one, can we have public bank before we wrap up the summary for today's task?
Dr. Embeng dulu.
Oh, sorry, I'm back dulu.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kami daripada grup 5 akan present mengenai M-Bank Berhad. Next. So the introduction about MBank Group. MBank Group is a leading financial services group with over 40 years of expertise in supporting the economic development in Malaysia. The group was listed on the main market of Bursa, Malaysia in 1988. It is the sixth largest banking group by asset in Malaysia, with a market capitalization of around 9 billion ringgit and asset of 170.2 billion ringgit as at 31st March 2021. MBank Group serves over 3 million individual and corporate customers. It provides service in wholesale banking, business banking, retail banking, investment banking, and related financial services. Next. So this is the item under the asset. So kita bagikan pada current asset and non-current asset. So the total asset in 2020 is 169,000 to 03086. Next. Well, under liabilities, the amount is 149,643 and 046. Next. And under equity, so ni item under equities. The total amount of equities in 2020 is 195,60040. Next. Before I want to present, before slide sebelum ni. Okay, so before kita orang nak present to descriptive statistic, actually we not really understand how to do the descriptive statistic. So we are doing it in analysis ratio, ratio analysis. So we doing it in liquidity ratio, solvency ratio, and profitability ratio. So next. So under current ratio, from 2019 to 2020, the ratio is increasing. So it means that, however, because the ratio is under 1, MBank Group cannot meet its short-term obligation and is not very healthy for the bank. Next. Total debt ratio. So amount from 2019 to 2020 has increased. And the debt ratio greater than 1 means company has more debt. However, if it less than 1, it means that company has more asset than debt. This means they are worsened than last year. Next. Equity ratio, the amount have decreased from 2019 to 2020. A low equity ratio means that the company primarily use debt to acquire asset, which is widely viewed as an indication of greater financial risk. So it means that MBank Group has been worsened than last year. Okay. Next, debt to equity ratio. The ratio from 2019 to 2020 has increased. Higher leverage ratio tend to indicate a company or stock with higher risk. So it means that their debt has increased from last year. Next, return on asset. So the ratio shows an increasing value. ROA is an indicator of how profitable a company is relative to its total asset. So ROA is displayed as the percentage. The higher the ROA is, the better. It means their return asset are better than last year. And the last one, next. Return on equity. They show an increasing value. So the company post ROE are more than 15% are generally considered to be in a good shape. So this means their return equity are also better than last year. So for the item that considered more into the asset, it is actually the loans, advance, and financing. Well, the item in the liability is deposit from customer, and the item that give amount mainly in the equities is reserve. That's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, actually the ratios ni will be used for your third task nanti so you should keep this calculation. Cuma nanti for the third task nanti the ratio is longer dan lagi banyak lah, but you should keep the ratios that you have untuk yang ni So next, can we have public bank lah, the last one.
Assalamualaikum and good evening to Dr. Hazianti and fellow friends. I'm Latifa. For this task, we choose Public Bank Berhad and going to present about the items on assets, liabilities, and equity side that we identify from bank's statement of financial position year 2020, and also going to present about the items that contribute the most to that three categories. Before starting the presentation, let me introduce my group member first, which is Ainul Mardiah and also Jivita. Next, let's move to items on asset first. These are the items which consist of 17 items altogether. There are the amounts in RM and also percentages for every item that have been listed here. Next. In this graph, we can identify easily which items contribute the most to the asset, and it will be loans, advances, and financing, which got the highest percentage, 75.97%. That's all. I will pass to Jibita to explain the rest.
Will be the sheet of There are 11 items with a total of 402,830,237 ringgit Malaysia. From the 11 items, I have combined and simplified. Okay, through this graph, we can see the deposits from customers, and banks has stated the highest value and percentage, which is 93.49%. As I presented earlier, the bills and acceptance payable and provision for tax expense and zakat has the least amount, and the percentage of liability will be 0.05% respectively. And next, we will be seeing about the balance sheet of equity. These are the 5 equity items I got from the balance sheet equity from a total of 48,426,630 ringgit Malaysia. Next slide. Okay, through this graph, we can see that retained profit has the highest amount and percentage, which is 71.41% from the total equity. And the least items on equity will be non-controlled interest, which is 2.43%, which we can call as amount of 1,178,359 ringgit Malaysia. Thank you. And that's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. So if you look at today's assignments, I used to devise this here in the class dekat sini dan ada our laptop here to mark your presentation. So here you are required to identify the items on the assets and items on the liability and equity side. So well done, all of you have presented all the assets and also liabilities based on your chosen bank. And then next one, you have to determine the item that contribute the most to the asset and the item that contribute the most to the liabilities and equity. All right, so for this one, like I mentioned before, we are familiar with other types of companies, for example, manufacturing, retail, whereby their assets and liabilities are actually made up from, for example, made up of, we have lands, buildings, equipment, and for their current assets as well, and they have cash and bank balances, account receivable and whatnot. But for banks, you can see from these six presentations today, we can summarize, for example, for the asset side, loans and advances are actually the most items that contribute the most to the asset section for the banks. But if we look at other types of company, for example, manufacturing companies, so loans and advances are actually on their liability side, kan? But for banks, loan and advances ni is under their assets. And the liabilities are actually deposits from customer. Okay, so dia nampak macam terbalik lah, because for other companies, deposits or cash tu akan duduk di bahagian asset, and loan duduk kat bahagian liability. But for banks, so this is the first differences that we can identify, whereby that is why if you read articles or research, or sometimes when people do research about companies, they normally exclude banks and financial institutions in their sample, because of this, the different nature of the financial statements. And for example, for banks, we can see, so most banks, all the six banks presented today, the assets, most contributed asset portion actually comes from loan and advances, and the most contributed ataupun the most item that contribute the most to the liability is actually deposits from customer. Okay, so that's basically your task one. So now you know already apa asset and liability for the bank. Okay, and then nanti later on I will share with you your second task again with the same bank. Kita nak tengok yang lain pula, and then nanti towards the end of the semester we go to the final task again with the bank, the same bank. Kita akan tengok the ratio tu nanti, but not the ratio, not really the ratio that that is presented by M-Bank, but you can keep that calculation for your assignments later. Okay, so I think that's all. Ada soalan tak for the presentation? Tak ada. So you just satu, you have to include yourself in the group member name tu dekat My Guru tadi. Yang tu yang belum masukkan nama, masukkan. And then please upload your infographic dekat dalam tu. The due date for the infographic is this Friday. Tapi since mudah present and dah siap, so you can upload the infographic dalam My Guru. But please make sure everybody's name is in the list of the group members lah. Otherwise nanti your name will not be counted. Alright. So kalau tak ada apa-apa, that's all for today. So well done for your first task. So I hope you can do better for your future task, task 2 and also task 3 nanti. Alright, so kalau tak ada apa-apa, I will see you next week. Thank you.
Betul.
Alright, okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, alright. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.